All right, today we're going to continue the series of best advice ever. I found this article. It's from January 2023. This person, I don't know them. I asked 2,800 people for the best life advice I've ever received. This is what they said. So, 2,800 people, this is important. I'm going to try to go through all of them. Some of them I'm going to add my own take. Some of them I'm going to just graciously move over. And this is the first time when I read it. I never read this page. I will react to it exactly as you see it. No cuts, no jump cuts, nothing. You get the real me. Okay, so let's go. Um, Let me read a little bit about the person, like just opening the setting the scene. The wisdom of the crowds is really rarely wrong. Most of the times, I agree. I agree. Unless sometimes in the groups, it's even said that the most stupidity is found in the groups. Because sometimes people can also hypnotize each other in a group setting to do the worst things. Because it's just enough to find like a bad idea and then a bunch of people to follow it, to amplify it. And because now everyone else is going to validate that idea inside the group, you might have the same ideology, you might be part of the same party, whatever. And then what you have is just one bad idea that is amplified by people who belong to the same group, and nobody even questions it. And then that validation from everyone else becomes the very reason why sometimes groups can also be stupid. But this is groups, not crowds. Crowds is the difference between a group and the crowd is that a group is, you know, like it's a group of people, or it's a crowd of people based on a certain segment. Like, I don't know, they are part of this company, they are part of this political party, they are part of this football team, whatever, right? But the crowd is just random people. So then I agree with this. All right, I posted a poll on Instagram asking people. Oh, okay, so this is from Instagram. That definitely says something. I'm going to. The moment when he said that the poll is on Instagram, I'm like, okay, my expectations went a bit low, but okay, we are still going to go through it because why not? The question was, I get, what advice would you give? What advice would you give the person you were 1 year ago? So this is the question that people answered to. Listed anonymously, I've divided the advice in 3 categories: relationships, timing in the future, and personal growth. Very nice. People of all ages and all walks of life hold wisdom. Too often we forget to listen. I agree. But also, I would add, too often we forget to not just listen, but we also think, to filter, to analyze, to judge, not be judgmental, but to evaluate. That's more important than listening. Listening is good, but it has to be paired with common sense, with critical thinking. Okay, let's see. Let's go. Okay, grandma and grandpa kissing. I don't know. It's okay. We started well. Relationships, of course. Ishtab, ishtab. I'm talking Hungarian now. Establish boundaries in relationships. Vocalize them and stick to them. Yes, boundaries are important. I agree. Vocalize them and stick to them. I also agree. What just one thing I would add, nothing wrong with this. It's just that before you establish boundaries, you have to make sure that those boundaries are not something that you heard other people telling you that, oh, that's a good boundary. It might be a good boundary for them, but boundaries are very personal. So you have to sit, reflect. Also, you have to know yourself, to know what you want, what you don't want, what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to accept. And then once you have an idea of what your boundaries are, then you have to communicate them. I agree. And the last part with like stick to them, this part means when your partner disrespects your boundaries, you have to establish a way to escalate, not just like, hey, like I don't like when you do that, and then when they do it, you go like, oh, okay, like I forgive you over and over again, and then you repeat. No, there has to be some sort of system to enforce those boundaries if they are crossed. You can lie down for people to walk on you, and they will still complain you're not flat enough. Yeah, I agree. This is in relationships. I don't think that this is necessarily in romantic relationships, although definitely, but it's in the broader scope of relationships in general. It is true. And the reason for why this is true, it's because people will treat you on like or based on how you allow them. You are sending the signals of how you want to be treated by what you accept, why you tolerate, and people will react to that. It's not like people don't think that much about what's right and what's wrong. They mostly react to who you are as a person and what they perceive from you. If sometimes people are going to perceive that you have some weakness, most of them will exploit it. And this is part of the human nature. It's unfortunate, but in order to not have that, you need to engage or interact with very or highly conscious individuals. And by the law of numbers, conscious individuals are rare, because only a conscious individual would have the power to do something like, let's say, exploit, but they would be like, I don't want to do that. Like, I have my own standards, I have my own character, I know who I am, I know what I want to be and not to be, and I won't do that. Most people are, because are unconscious, they will actually, they will take it. They'll be like, okay, I can, and their behavior will not even be clear to them. It's not like people know what they are doing. They're just reacting, and it's very unconscious. It's very reactive mode. But the advice is actually true. Oh my God, we're moving very slow, but I'm going to do my best to go through all of them. At least we're going to go through relationships. My promise. Third, be compassionate to others if they say they are struggling. If they don't say they are struggling, consider the trauma that they might not show on the surface, the trauma that they are trying to hide. Okay, so if someone tells you that they're struggling with something, be compassionate. Yes, absolutely. With just like a minor thing, because I know that, look, many people, unfortunately, these days became so popular to just adopt a victim mindset. Victim mentality it's like a disease right now. It's spreading so fast because people don't understand what they are doing. They are not conscious. They are unconsciously doing that because if they just portray themselves as bigger victims, if they adopted this victim attitude forever, like well past beyond the point of whatever happened to them. Like, they might have an event. So I'm talking about a specific type of people. They might have an event 3 years ago, something happened to them, but now they have adopted this idea that they are their past event, their trauma. Now they adopt it as an identity, and this is what I'm referring to. Because pain is real, but suffering is not necessary. Like, there is a difference between something happens to you and it's painful, and then later on, instead of processing that, dusting yourself off, lifting yourself up, making yourself better and continuing your life, some people, unfortunately most people these days, they take the easy way out, which is victimhood. Victimhood is when now they identify with whatever happened to them, right? It's not like they have depression. They are a depressed person, and that's forever. This is me, and you cannot talk against that because, well, you are attacking their identity at this point. This is no longer something that they want to solve, something that they want to pass over. No, they got comfortable with that. They might receive compassion from people. They might receive different things, and it's comfortable. And unfortunately, most people don't see this. Again, I'm not saying depression is not real, but at the same time, there is a point where you also realize, what is my role into that? What can I do to change? Like, how can I progress past to that? This happened like 10 years ago. Like, like, there is a difference in there. So that's what I mean. So that's exactly what I meant when I said, like, be compassionate to others if they say they are struggling. Yes, but some people will just have this victimhood like victim mindset, and they will tell you that they're struggling and it is real for them, but at the same time, they're not really the victims that they are portraying themselves to be. but they are victims to their own victimhood, if that makes any sense. Okay, so but in that situation, what would you do? Same. That's why no difference. If someone, for example, I will tell you, if someone tells you that they're struggling with something and it's something recent and like, the pain is real, be compassionate, of course. But if someone, for example, you see that they have this permanent chronic victimhood mentality, even to that you can still be compassionate. I would be compassionate because when I see someone adopting victimhood, I am compassionate. Not in the sense that, hey, I will let you to abuse me, I will let you to disrespect me, I will let you to do bad things to me just because you are a victim to your own victimhood. But I will be compassionate in the sense that, look, I can see that you don't see what you're doing and maybe how you would want to progress, to move forward, to improve your life. But my compassion is also paired with some distance, because now I also have to protect myself. Also, in relationship, that's always an element. People who are struggling or people with trauma will make other people suffer. This is the element, or this is the part where when you sometimes you have to protect yourself. Like, imagine someone is hurting, they are struggling, but you need to also protect yourself from the pain and the suffering that they are, without knowing, or sometimes knowing, it doesn't matter, they are inflicting on people who are around them. So again, protecting yourself is also very important. If they don't say they are struggling, consider the trauma that they may not show on the surface. Yes, that is very true. And now we're talking about the other, like kind of like the polar opposite. First, we have talked about victimhood and victim mindset, but there is also this category of people, I think I'm on that side more, that they don't like to complain. They don't like to make themselves as a victim. Like, it's like they just suffer silently and just go with it. And that's also something for you to consider. So sometimes people are going to tell you they struggle, and sometimes they are going to try to hide it, and you have to be mindful of both. Very good advice. Three things for better relationships. Here we go. Acceptance, appreciation, understanding. Master this and everything improves. Okay, let me one more time, because if I master this, everything improves. Okay, let's go. Things for better relationships: acceptance, appreciation, understanding. I agree. Acceptance is very important, because, oh my God, acceptance, no wonder is the first, because everything at some point, even if it's, positive or negative, pleasant or painful, acceptance is part of it. Like, you have to accept. You have to understand, not accept as in like tolerate. Acceptance is very much misunderstood, but acceptance is like, I understand that you are like this. I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to subject myself to this further, but I do accept that this is who you are. Like, I understand that. Like, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to try to change you. I'm not going to try to waste my time and my energy to try to change someone. Like, acceptance is part of that, but also acceptance is part of so many other things. For example, we find it so hard to accept love. We find it so hard to accept a nice gesture from someone, that it could be a stranger. I don't know. For there could be reasons why you should not accept, nice gestures from strangers. There is very good reason and wisdom in there. But think about a friend trying to offer something, and you're just too full of ego. Maybe you are in a vulnerable place, and your friend is trying to help, and you are going to find it hard to accept. And that is definitely a part, like, ego is definitely part of that. And that's why I'm saying acceptance is very important in all sorts of areas in relationships. No wonder is the first. Appreciation, absolutely true. Appreciation is important because, oh my God, this is also, could also be first, to be honest, because in a relationship, let's just take a romantic relationship, but it can be any type of relationship. Let's just simplify it. You have two people, right? Well, the relationship is, these two people are, they're engaging in some sort of relationship. Like they're exchanging value, they're communicating. There is some sort of, like exchange. Well, that exchange, usually the like whatever is good, no matter how small, should be appreciated. Like if you have someone in your life and they do something good for you, you should appreciate that. You should at least say a genuine thank you. Like you should be able to say like, look, what you did in there, I really appreciate that. It's because, well, I didn't know this, I was not mindful of that, and you still, I don't know, helped, and I appreciate that. Appreciation is, it doesn't have to be for big things. It oftentimes is actually more important for the small things, because small things are more like they happen more often, right? So the biggest part of any relationship is made of those small instances, and therefore that's why you should especially appreciate the small gestures. It's so important. And appreciation is important because every party wants to know that they are valued in that relationship. They want to know that they exist, that you acknowledge their existence. And you don't acknowledge their existence by saying hi, whatever. You acknowledge the things that they are spending their energy on, right? They do something, a nice gesture, they have spent some energy on that, and you appreciating that is way more valuable than anything else. Understanding. Oh my God, this could also be the first. It's funny that I said that all three of these could be first, so that means that they're very important. I agree. Understanding. Understanding is, oh God, that is. Remember when I said a few minutes ago about in a relationship, you have this exchange, right? Exchange of value, exchange of information, you spend time together. So understanding is, it's really being able to know that whatever I try to express to you gets to you. Like it lands, you receive it. This is what really makes the exchange complete. Think about it. If you're in a if you're talking to your wife or husband, whatever, have a conversation. It's an important conversation, right? When you speak and you try to express, you're expressing your thoughts, how you're feeling, what you think about it. It's very important for you to know that the other person receives that, understands it, because you understand it, like you are trying to express it, like it's encoded in your mind, and you are decoding it and trying to encode that in through words and sentences, and you transmit it, but then you also want to know that it's received. Understanding is what happens with the other person in this example, that they go like, oh yeah, so then when you say this and this and that, now it makes sense, because initially I thought that ABC, and then after you explain this and I listened, it's actually XYZ. When like the feeling of being understood is very important, because it almost makes this exchange of information, let's say, it makes it complete. You know that whatever you have transmitted, it actually landed. Now you know what I know. I have tried my best to bring you into my world, to explain how I feel and how I think. And now that you understand me, now it's common information. It's not just that I know it, now you also know it. And this makes the connection stronger. Very good advice, by the way. Ooh, let's continue. I love it. Keep your friends close after you graduate college. It gets harder and harder to see people that you once saw on a daily basis. I agree. That's true. But I have something to say about that, as always, of course. Roommates, classmates, people around campus, everyone's removed from this context. Now, spending time with people takes intention and effort. It isn't a passive occurrence anymore. Okay, a lot. But let's just address the main part. Keep your friends close after you graduate college. At least not in my case. I don't want to claim that this is bad advice for everyone, but in my case, I don't think so. And I will tell you why. When I was in my whatever teenage years, call it 15 to 20, and then early 20s, most people that I knew back then, I would not spend time with them now. Like we are radically in with different interests, different lifestyle, different everything. This is one of the reasons why relationships that start in teenage years oftentimes they end up in divorce because people don't meet when they themselves are matured. So then they are still going through a lot of transformational process and then they just drift apart. They meet when they are like, I don't know, 17, 18, whatever, and they fall in love and wow, oh my god, and by the time the college is over they already broke up, or maybe they get married but they break up like 5 7 years later. They break up. Why? Because it it's too raw. It's too raw. You cannot really have two seeds, put them together and expect that the trees that will be grown 30 years later they will look the same or they are going to match. No, it's going to be radically different, and this happens a lot. So at least in my case, that didn't work. Like I didn't stay close, and also it's not like, it's more like of a difference. It's not like, oh my god, people are bad. No, it's just difference. Like literally that what it is. Like people go in different directions, and it's like it's not. There is no reason for you to stay close. Actually, I would find it unlikely to be close to my, I don't know, like teenage friends in my 40s. Like it would be highly unlikely just because of the differences. Ooh, let me see. Okay, this was a lot, but I don't want to get into that. That's what I want to say next. This one is shorter. I like it. Relationships are a choice. You have to wake up every day and decide to care. Yes, I agree. Relationships are a choice. It looks to us that they're not a choice because you have some feelings and you feel like, oh, this is happening to me. I feel like this towards this person. But when you get into a long term relationship, there is a point where, like maybe the initial attraction or whatever was the spark at the beginning might not necessarily be the same, although sometimes it's possible. It depends on the chemistry between people. Sometimes can, sometimes not. Most of the times that spark goes away, but in some rare occasions actually it doesn't. So that's lucky the ones who keep the spark going. But I'm saying relationships are a choice for most people. Let me say this, not exceptions, but for most people relationships are a choice in the sense that since that spark and that initial flame kind of tends to go down over time, it's it becomes a choice. It becomes something that's like this person is no longer the most attractive, though is no longer the, I don't know, whatever it used to be, right? Things have like time has passed 5, 10, 20, 30 years, right? So it's not like it's not like what the reasons why you were attracted at the beginning are still present, but now it becomes a choice. It becomes it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and it's beautiful, but it's a different thing. It's relationships becoming something different. So I agree. You have to wake up every day and decide. You have to wake up every day and decide to care. Yeah, I agree. It's not so conscious, to be honest. I don't see this as like a conscious. You don't really wake up every morning like, oh my god, oh yeah, I love her, like I love her, I love her, I love her. It doesn't work this way, but it's more like it's a sense of patience. For example, let's say you have a partner, they might do something that might bother you. That's exactly the moment when you can practice. I decide to care. I decide to be patient. I decide to understand. I'm not going to say anything about that because that's not important. Our relationship is more important. This is for a lifetime, right? Like why would I get upset about the dishes or something like that? That would be stupid, right? But most people are not conscious about this. They are unconscious and they're just acting their own craziness. And yeah, it's sad, but the advice definitely valuable. I don't know how many people follow it, but definitely valuable. Ooh, let's see. When I get passionate about topics, I talk too much. I get excited. So one more time, coming down. Love can be amazingly simple and so outrageously complex all at once. Oh yes. If a person can just focus on the moment and do their best to be supportive, then love is simple. When we look for something or expect something for the future, love becomes complex. This person says a few things that I'm not going to get to. It's like what love becomes complex. They're kind of like hitting the mark, but a bit in, at least in my view, they're a bit off, but mostly true. Love can be amazingly simple and so outrageously complex all at once. I agree. This part I agree. And that's why I guess also the second part makes sense. But it's not necessarily complex. The word complex, I don't think that is the right one, but something in there. If a person can just focus on the moment and do their best to be supportive, then love is simple. Yes, that's true. I guess that's the idea. We tend to complicate things too much, and we bring in our love to the other person. We bring our own past, our own expectations, desire, needs, our own selfishness, and then love gets mixed with other things. I would not say that now it becomes complex, because it's not like complex is not really the right word. It becomes muddy, it becomes tainted, it becomes dirty. And yeah, I agree. You can keep it simple or you can make it very complicated, but I agree. Be honest with the huh? Be be honest with the tough question. Is this, are we working? I don't know what they mean. Do our visions of the future align? Ask honestly, answer honestly, then brace for impact. This person was definitely going through something, or they recently have concluded a relationship or something. Brace for impact. Okay. But they are saying something valuable. Be honest with the tough question. Is this, are we working? Like, is this or are we working? Okay. Let's just take this. Is this working? Yes. This is a very important question to ask. And sometimes you have to, especially for a long-term relationship, you have to ask yourself, you have to take a step back and ask yourself, like, is this going anywhere? Like, are we going, are we growing something? And are we building something or not? And the answer is obvious. But oftentimes what people do, it's that they project they project their expectations, their desire, their needs, their hopes. Yeah, well, right now things are not working, but blah, 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 and then there is some sort of hope. But there is a very big gap between reality and expectations, and most people don't understand about this because reality always wins. Do our visions of the future align? Oh, this one, I will tell you, this is not going to be very useful. It looks useful, but is not useful. And let me explain the difference. Let's say that you just met someone. I don't know, you're on Tinder, Bumble, whatever, how most people do. And let's say that at the beginning, you're just trying to know the person, right? So you might ask something like, okay, what's your vision of the future? What do you want? Like, what do you do for a living? Blah blah blah. You ask all sorts of questions. You're almost interrogating this person just to figure it out, right? What you don't understand is that the other person also has a sense of what would be the right answer for you, and if they want you to like or appreciate them fast, they are going to give you the answers that they know that will upgrade their image in your eyes. So what does this mean? It means that when you're trying to figure out if our visions for the future align, although that's a great and it's a great effort, it's very complex because we humans are capable of deception, and we like manipulation and all sorts of things. You're not going to figure it out just by like, here it's almost like the devil is in the details. Even if I say, yeah, it's a good idea for you to figure out if the visions align, right? But how are you going to do that? Think about it. It's not so easy just to, I know that our visions should be aligned. Yeah, and how are you going to figure that out? You see, just knowing what you need and being able to procure that, it's two different things. Because again, people play all sorts of social games. They wear all sorts of masks. So then will you really know? No, you at least are not going to know it from their words. The best way to know it, in case you are wondering, hey Alan, like, I understand the problem, but what's the solution? Well, I would say a better way, not necessarily the solution, but a better way is pay attention to what they do consistently when they don't know that you are paying attention. When people know that you are paying attention to them, they are going to try to be their best. Not everyone, most conscious people don't care. I'm like, I am who I am. Like, I don't need to pretend. But most people will pretend. Most people, they always try to do the shortcuts. If they know a shortcut for you to like them and that's what they want, they will apply the shortcut because most people are unconscious of what they are doing. So the asking, like, trying to figure out if our visions align, first, you do not communicate what is your vision. Because the moment when you communicate, oh, my vision is this, I want that, this is what I appreciate, I'm this type of person, you just handed them the keys of how to manipulate you, how to make you believe that they are exactly the right person for you. Just to realize a few years later, maybe a few kids and the house together later, a marriage, to realize that this person is not what they portray themselves to be. And why is that? It's because at the beginning of the relationships, you hand them the key. You told them, what is your lock combination number? You say like, well, I'm this kind of person. I appreciate this kind of people. I'm going there. I want to do this. This is important for me. The moment when you do this, I want you to imagine handing them the keys. Oh, I have some keys here. You hand them the keys. That's it. You give them the keys and now they can do anything. No, for you to find out really if your visions are aligned, first you have to know your vision. And second, silently, you have to observe their consistent behavior. Because people don't really invest into people find it, most people find it that it's so much easier with words to just make you believe something. Like, I don't know, she tells you or he tells you, oh, I'm this kind of person, blah, 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 blah. But it's just words, right? Because that's cheap. It's like energy efficient. But you have to pay attention to what is not energy efficient, which is like, see what they are spending their energy on. See what they are doing consistently. Consistency is very important because consistency will tell you who they actually are. All right. So then brace for impact. Yeah, I agree. But there is nothing for impact. It's just like the moment when you figure out that your visions are not aligned, just walk away. That's it. It's just walk away is the most simple thing, because every second after that, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time spent with the wrong person when that time that you are spending, it might be spent with the right person. And it's like so many people do this and it's a big mistake. Oh my God, I'm moving through them very slowly. How many did I do? Like, let me see. Oh, I think today we do only the relationship. That's funny. Okay, fine. I will take it. Just relationships, I think. But this is good. Even if I do only relationships today, I guess next week I'm going to do the other. Or maybe I'm going to speak less and I'm going to babble less. So then I'm going to go through all of them. Let's see what we can do, okay? Next. To expand the conversation of love beyond just romance, first understand the effort that loving someone takes. To broaden our conception of love, understand that it is no easy thing to undertake and the effort is massive. Let me see how I make this shorter, how I make sense of this. Understand the effort that loving someone takes. Yeah, because you see, the love usually has this branding, this image of like this romance, right? It's like almost like love and romance, they are the same thing, which they're not. But to expand the conversation or to go beyond this understanding that love is romance, you have to understand how much effort loving someone takes. And I agree, this is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And this is how you show your love. It's really doing those efforts, like doing the whatever, like we doing whatever is necessary to make the relationship better. You might invest on some time, you might have some conversations, it might be some, like, a little bit of difficulty, but that energy spent is for the betterment of the relationships, and all of that taken over time, it's a lot of effort. I agree. But it's also has to worth it. Like you have to do this with the right person, because, well, uh, it's not easy to find that. That's rare. To broaden our conception of love, understand that it's no easy thing to undertake and the effort is massive. This is just a repetition of the first sentence, so that's the point. There is nothing more you can offer anyone other than your very best. If you are doing this, nothing more is required. Mm, I'm struggling with this one a little bit, but it's not because I don't agree. It's because it's kind of like intricate. There is nothing more you can offer anyone other than your very best. Yes, that part is like, make sure that you do your best, and at the end of the day, if you really did your best, not like you say it's your best but it's not, if you really did your best, nothing more. I agree. If you could do your best, that's really, like, nothing more is required. I agree. Pretty simple. If there is a potential relationship to build, do it. Personal or professional. That potential doesn't last forever. You can always repair a bad first impression, but you can never go back and recapture missed moments. Sorry, this is my face where I'm processing. Like, give me a second in here. You can process it yourself, like while I'm nodding my head like a stupid here. If there is a potential relationship, I sound funny with it. If there is a potential relationship to build it, do it. I don't know what they meant. Maybe they meant something else and it makes more sense. But just because you can build a relationship, it doesn't mean you can build many relationships, but that's not the point. The point is to build fewer, more important, deeper relationships. It's not like, oh, I can build this relationship. Do it, do it, do it, do it. So maybe they meant something else, or maybe I'm missing something. Personal or professional. That potential doesn't last forever. Okay, so now I understand what they mean. It's almost like a potential for a relationship doesn't last forever. So if you can build it, and I would add, which is the critical piece, and if you want that, if you find it valuable, go do it, build it. Like, it's a like, relationships are a window of opportunity, but they also close. And make sure that, basically, go build the relationship before the window closes. I agree, but that's only if you find it valuable. Like, if you see the value. If there is no value, let it go. Move to what is really valuable. Mm-mm-mm. Let me see, how much time do we have? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, next. I want to finish the relationship. I will finish the relationships. Mark my word, I will finish the relationships. Help the people you know to grow, and you'll grow alongside them. Help the people you know to grow. Huh? Help the people you know to grow. Okay? And you'll grow alongside them. Not sure exactly what this person means, but let's just reframe it a little bit so we can talk about it. Help the people you know to grow. Oh my god, I'm struggling here. Whatever, I will have to choose whatever you mean. You are going to grow alongside with the people that you help to grow. We can agree on that, right? You are going to grow alongside them. Yes, I agree. Because usually, you know, again, relationships, let's take it into a romantic sense, right? It's a couple. Well, usually in a couple, both people evolve, not necessarily equally, because the starting point is not always the same, and the growth potential is not the same, and like it's always like a self-balancing, but not necessarily a balance equal. This person grew by 3 points, this person grew by 3 points. No, not necessarily, because the upside is different for different people. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Grow with people that you choose to grow alongside them. Yes, okay, fine, not so good, but okay. I don't know why they included it in there. Every time when I don't really understand like one of this advice, whatever, I always take it on myself. Maybe I'm stupid, maybe I don't get it, like like I always reserve myself that chance, like maybe I'm missing it. So if I'm missing it, I'm just going to go to the next. 9 out of 10 times, and let's go faster, I want to finish them, I promise I'll finish them. 9 out of 10 times it's not about you, so don't take it personally. Yeah, if we just ignore the numbers, 9 out of 10, 99.5%, 93%, if we ignore the numbers, let's just say most of the times it's not about you, don't take it personally. I agree. I agree, because, and this could be taken in so many different directions. It's a short advice, but it's applicable so generally. But most of the times it's how the person feels and how they translate whatever is, or interpreting whatever is happening, and most of the times it's not really about you. Most of the times is about them. Who is the them, right? Because there are two people in a relationship in this case, right? Well, it's the person who reacts to something, right? If someone really creates, let's say, creates an issue based on something, it's not really so much about you, it's a lot more about them. And this is where some people might go like, wait, hold on a second, so if you punch me in the face, it's it's about me, it's like, is this my fault, it's like, what is their fault? No, it's more like the person who generates something, builds some sort of conflict, like generates some sort of conflict, let's say. That conflict is more about the person who generated it, not about the person receiving it. So if you are on the receiving end, it's not so much about you, although the other person will make it look like it's about, no, you did this, it's because of you. But if you objectively evaluate the facts, you can instantly see who did what. And yeah, sometimes it's not about you, but it's so hard not to take things personally, because in relationships, by definition, we take them personally. Even if it's a professional relationship, most of the times people will take it personally. I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm saying how it is. And the reason for that is because when we interact, even professionally, we don't interact from our job title. Oh, I'm the CEO. Oh, I'm the, I don't know, assistant manager. No, they interact from their own person, from their own persona, right? That comes with all the insecurities and fears and desires and needs and all of that. This is where we are acting from. We're not acting from like, you have this title, look, oh, I'm the assistant manager, and you're like just like a robot, and no, your job description is assistant manager, but you are the person behind the job description, and that's the place where you are acting from. So therefore it's very hard to not take it personally, even if it's a professional environment. Of course, in a professional environment, people will not admit this. They'll be like, oh, we are just professionals and this and that. But in their own mind, they'll be like, oh my God, this guy, how this could do this? Like, oh, why does he deserve like a higher salary than me, and all of this? This happens so much. Just because no one's at fault doesn't mean it isn't the time to move on. Okay, I agree. Things happen. Take this, take these things in stride and stay level-headed. As fast as things can collapse into oblivion, they can repair again too. This is the one that I don't agree so much. And I will tell you why. It's the last part. As fast as things can collapse into oblivion, like destruction, they can repair again too. Sorry to say it, I try to not to be so strong with my words, but wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. I will tell you why. Because it's a lot easier, means also faster, to destroy anything than to build, more so to rebuild. Imagine how easy you can just break a plate. You just drop it, you break it. Can you put it back together as easily as you drop it? Even if you put it back together, you're going to glue it on whatever, you try to polish it. Oh my God, it looks like new, but it's broken. It's not the same plate. Oftentimes, you cannot really repair things. So this part, I absolutely don't agree. This is not, it's not like it's not good advice. They mean something well, in the sense that you can still repair things. Yeah, sometimes that's true, but as fast, no. No, absolutely no. Just because no one is at fault, let me address the first part. It's funny how I started with the last part because that was like on my mind, but I have to start from the beginning. Just because no one is at fault doesn't mean it isn't time to move on. Also true. Also true. Basically, it doesn't mean that something obviously wrong has to happen for people to move on. Sometimes the relationship is simply just not right. And again, without something obviously wrong. Oh my God, he punched in the face. Oh my God, she stole my wallet. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes there are relationships where no, people don't fight. Like, they're not fighting. There is no conflict, but it's not a good relationship. And that's also a reason, like a reason to move on. So it's not obvious, but it's almost like a silent, almost like a faint signal that, nah, it's just like, nah, something's off. I agree with that part. Okay, let's move to the next one. Don't let, how many do I still have? That's it. Oh, I can do it. And then we have a picture. At the end, we have a picture. I don't know what it is, but I think it's about the next one. Don't let your insecurities and fears dictate the outcome of your relationships. Yeah, great advice that nobody will follow. That's what I can say directly. What are you most nervous about? Don't let that impact your decisions. Okay. It's good advice that almost no one can apply. It's true, but nobody can apply this. Like, you have to be highly conscious, super spiritual to get this one right. Don't let your insecurities and fears dictate the outcome of your relationships. I agree. But you to know your insecurities and your fears, not the ones that you declare, the really your fears, those that are driving you without you really realizing. Those that come from the subconscious, not just like, oh, I'm afraid of spiders, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of like, no. I'm talking about those things that you're afraid and you don't even know that you're afraid of. So knowing your insecurities and your fears, that is the difficult part. But wait, you're not done. Even if you know them, there is an even more difficult part beyond that. Not like the first one would almost be impossible to achieve, but let's say that you know your fears and insecurities. The second part is, it means that you should, when the time comes, in the moment, in the heat of the moment, when you are tempted, when you are triggered, to control yourself, to see it, to zoom out, to go like, oh, whoa. This is my fears and insecurities. I should stop. I would not like, I'm sorry. No, I don't want to do this. Who does that? Like, it's possible, but the level of practice that you have to have into knowing yourself and preventing yourself to just react, to be triggered, to say the thing, to do the fact, that is super difficult. This is why I said at the beginning, yeah, true, but who can do that? I agree. This should be taken as an aim. Don't let your baggage affect the relationship. I agree. I don't know people who actually do this successfully. I know people who believe they do. They talk about trauma and they talk about, oh, I don't want to do blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to the moment when they should, like, it's a, it's the fork in the road. They always default to that. So it's not easy. This is very difficult. Okay, next one. Make your story. I don't want to see the picture yet. Wait, I shouldn't scroll. Make your story bigger than just yourself. Find ways to contribute something positive to others as often as possible. Give and give and give. Aim for the greater good with the actions you take every day. Nah, some things I don't agree here. Let me see. Make your story bigger than just yourself. I would say, yeah, there's something good in there, but usually stay away from stories. It's so much better to operate in a relationship based on facts and truth. When you operate on stories, even if the story is bigger than yourself, it's still a story. Most of the times it's going to be a fiction of what would make you feel good about the situation. So I would say try to stay away from stories in general. Again, not stories in general, but I mean in a relationship. When, for example, he does something, she does something to you, and or something happened, like she does something to you. Oh my God, I already accused her. Like she's guilty. No, like something happened, and if you really evaluate things properly, you'll be like, okay, so this person said this or did that, and I received it like this, and if I evaluate it properly, it looks like that, and like I can process it like from a place of equanimity. Like I can be level-headed. I don't have to react. I don't have to be triggered, right? But eventually, if you don't do that, you are going to tell a story. Oh, yeah, she did this because blah, blah, blah. I know this, blah, blah, blah. And then now you're concocting a story. And in this story, of course, you're the hero. Everything is good. And she is the whatever, the enemy. And it's a story. But that's the thing. The only way you can check is this story, whatever you are saying, is it based on facts? Because this goes in levels. It's like this. Better don't tell any story, describe facts. If you have to tell a story, at least make sure that it's based on facts. So then most of it is going to be like the glue that ties the events, the truth together. That's still acceptable. Unfortunately, some people, they can cut stories that are based on falsehood. Like literally, they take here and there, they twist it, but like, oh, that's the truth. They make it into a story, and then, they literally operate on a false map. So, yes, absolutely, but try to stay away from stories unless like you can be very careful with make sure that have real events inside. Find ways to contribute something positive to others as often as possible. Yes, but this is not an aim for you. Like, oh my God, I have to contribute something positive to others. I walk on the street and I'm like, oh my God, I have some candy. I will give it to this guy. I'm like, that's not really how you become useful to society, to the universe. That's not really the highest good that you can do. It's to invest in yourself, which for someone like this would look selfish. Invest in yourself, grow yourself to the point where you can help like at higher level with bigger impact at higher scale. So it's the difference between, imagine, oh my God, every day I have to do something good for someone else. So, today I have this candy, I will give it to this guy. So I have my t-shirt on me, I'll give it to this guy. Or I have my shoes, I'll give it to this guy. Like, but it's like with that time and energy, you can invest it into learn a new skill, to develop. Maybe you want to develop a skill that will help humanity, not just treat people, you give them some used shoes in the used t-shirt, but you can help humanity. Is in the same time, you can invest into this or that. So then, yes, try to help, but how you help, it's make sure that you are not focusing on the pennies and the little things, because you can always go bigger when it's about to contribute back to the universe. You can always invest in yourself first, and then give back later when you're ready to have something valuable to give. Yeah, this person, I can always it's funny, it comes from the same person, it makes sense. Give and give and give, like that's just like give. Well, the point is, I don't agree with this, because when you always give, you have nothing more to give. It's, you have to invest in yourself, you have to grow yourself, you have to give to yourself, so you have something to give. That is absolutely wrong. But some people believe that, but it's just not how reality works. It's just, this is advice that sounds good, but it's terrible advice, to be honest. Aim for the greater good with the actions you take every day. This part I agree. You see, I divided the advice from the same person in different parts, addressed them separately. This one, aim for the greater good with the actions you take every day. I agree. This one, the world would be so much a better place if everyone would act with the greater good in mind. But most people actually act from a place of like individualistic needs, like selfishness. What, it's about me, what do I want, how do I get this, this is what I want, this is where I'm going, it's about me, and that's it. But aiming for the greater good with your actions, that is very good advice. Again, don't understand that just people reading this to be like, oh, the world has changed. No, it's good, but nobody really applies it. It would be nice to, but nobody really applies it. What you appreciate appreciates. Huh? That's pretty cool. What you appreciate appreciates. This one is good. This one is good. Damn, short and sweet, I swear. I love this one. If you appreciate the other person, if you appreciate their efforts, they appreciate in value. And it's true. It's absolutely true. This advice is brilliant. I wish I would see some pictures with the people who said, because obviously there are different people who said this, or know a little bit more about their context, but beautiful. What you appreciate appreciates. Yeah, it goes back to appreciation. This is why we want to be appreciated, and it's good also to want to appreciate the other person and their efforts, no matter how small. Beautiful. This one, best so far. I love it. Next, and we're approaching the end. Yeah, almost 1 hour. Empathy isn't just about placing yourself in someone else's shoes. It's about understanding and acknowledging the human experience of another, regardless of biases and value systems. Do this. Do this, but be aware unbounded empathy can be hazardous. I agree. Empathy is not just about placing yourself in someone else's shoes, it's about understanding and acknowledging the human experience of another. Yes. But, you know, when it's said, place yourself in someone else's shoes, technically what that means, it's kind of like implied that you are going to understand their experience. This is what's about. So I'm not sure exactly what they're coming from. Regardless of biases or value systems. Correct. Do this, but be aware unbounded empathy can be hazardous. I'm butchering this word, but I know it's pronounced differently. Whatever. Do this, but be aware unbounded empathy. Unbounded empathy. Yes. I agree. Empathy is something that, you know, that like we have these people who are always like they took goodness as like an identity. So they apply it in any kind of case. Like you slap their face, they'll be like, oh my God, slap the other cheek as well. You know, I'm so pure. I'm just this pure being, you know, like living amongst mortals, and you know, like I'm perfectly good. Nothing can hurt me. That is really taking things to unrealistic, you know, territory, because unbounded empathy is also a thing. Like this should be done, like being empathetic should be done with realism, should be done with like being objective. And that is really the hard part. That's the difficult part. Am I still recording? Yes. And that's the difficult part. Next, good intentions matter, but your actions will define you. Hmm. Yeah, I I know that some people, unfortunately, too many people, believe that intentions are enough. If I have an intention to do something good towards you, well, that's it's like I had the intention. Like that's it, right? It doesn't matter what I do; it matters my intention. And again, this is, people taking the easy way out, because it's so much easy to just portray, to verbalize an intention, and to make it look, oh, I really wanted to do that. Well, it doesn't matter. What really matters is what you did, or what really matters is what happened. Intentions, honestly, if they are not realized, is just a way for people to hide behind their behind their intentions. They make the intentions to be good, so therefore, if they don't do good, or they don't act on their intentions, or their initial intentions, all they have to do is just find the reason later why, yeah, I wanted to do that, but I couldn't because, and then they are going to point at something, and then eventually what happens is that, I don't know, maybe they did something that is the opposite of their intention, but now they're using the intention as like, no, you should judge me not by what I did to you, you should judge me by my intention. And I'm like, no, reality, it's like what happened, the event, what you did is a lot more important than your intention. Intention is just like, it's a potential. It's like, that's what this person maybe they want, but their actions and the result is really what will tell you the truth. So yeah, don't be fooled by that. Invest in those who invest in you. People who show up for you should be cherished. mm, Generally speaking, this is good advice. So I'm not going to get into that because it's obvious. Okay, if someone invests in you, it's good for you to also invest in them. That builds a relationship. Agreed. If people show up for you, they should be cherished. They should be, say it, appreciated. Exactly. So that part is true, but there is a situation in which this would not necessarily be true. And you see, I'm just looking for that unique angle. I'm not trying to just validate something that it's obvious already. Here is where this would not necessarily be, like, would not really apply. Well, just like an easy example would be someone that you really don't want around you for whatever reasons. Maybe you have hopefully some of the objective reasons based on truth and facts and events, and you don't want this person to be around you. Now, this person, maybe they have different intentions and they want that. You don't want, but they want, and this happens. So they will invest in you, but it doesn't mean that you have to invest in them, because they are doing this. They are doing the investment from their intention, from what they want, but your investment should not be from their perspective. It doesn't make any sense, because you can see how this could go wrong in all sorts of ways. I don't know. You have you have a child, walking on the street, and you have this creepy stranger like, hey, you want a candy? And the children like, oh yeah, I want the candy, can I offer you something like ice cream? Let's go together, and like, you give me the candy and I give you the ice cream. It could go wrong in many different ways, but generally good advice. I'm not trying to say it's not. And today, the last one, I hope it's good. Just before we see the picture, we're going to see the picture from the next one that we're going to address, I guess, next week. So, on relationships, best advice after 2,800 people interviewed. Last one for today. Don't play games. Everyone thinks that building a relationship needs games or lines, scripts, but that isn't true. Tell the truth, even if it's blunt. Even if it isn't pretty, if your partner is as honest as you, there should be no uncertainties. Ooh, I love that this is the last one for today because we're going to get into it. Don't play games. I agree, but the thing is that most people play games. We don't admit it, but most people play games. I agree, don't play games. I do not like when people play games with me. but it happens so often that without them even realizing that it's almost like life becomes this game that you cannot not play. Like we are always reacting, or we are like we are what's the word? Yeah, I lost my word. Wait, I don't know. English failed me. We get into, I'm going to try to explain it. It's funny. So I said we are always reacting to what comes from other people, their actions, their words, right? So we are responding based on something that comes our way. But oftentimes people, like, we want things, we desire things, and we are going to go about it in certain ways. And that's because we have needs and wants. Since we have needs and wants, we are going to go about achieving those needs and wants in certain ways. And you're going to notice that with each person, there are certain patterns, certain almost like strategies. That means that in a way, you could say that, like, even if you don't realize it, you are going to tend to play the same game every time. When you want something, there is some sort of interaction in there. You're going to say something that you don't mean it. That's playing games, right? You're going to, I don't know, you're going to pretend that, oh, wait, I don't understand. Can you explain that? That's playing games. So playing games, yeah, it's not good, but we do it so often that it almost becomes like the water around the fish. Like the fish doesn't see the water. It's like so common, it's so present that we no longer see it. So the way I take this, which again I agree with, and I don't like when people play games, is like don't play too many games. Like don't make playing games with me as in like the default. That I agree, right? But like if you go into the details, into the fine grains, like it's all games. Because we all play these social games, like it's so, like it's all present, and it flies be like under the radar. Let's continue. Everyone thinks that building a relationship needs games or lines, scripts, but it isn't true. I agree. I think this kind of like goes back to one of the advice that we read earlier, which was about let me see what this is about. I but it's about simplicity. Remember when we talked about this a few minutes earlier, that love can be very simple or it can be very complex. Correct. When we play too many games, we make it too complex, and it's just kind of like the games start to get in the way. So I agree with that part. So that means that love could also be, or a relationship, if it's not about love here, but a relationship could be built on simplicity, trust, like good communication, like not trying to play too many games which get in the way. Tell the truth, even if it's blunt. Yeah, I wish more people would do this, but this is so rare. And you know what's funny about this? Most people, if you ask them, they will tell you, oh, no, like I'm an honest person. I tell the truth. I tell the truth even when it's difficult. Everyone is saying this and nobody is doing it. Like there are just a few people who actually will tell you the truth bluntly. But most people, they project this image about themselves, but when it comes the moment to say the difficult thing that they know that might upset you or might offend somehow the relationship, they are not going to choose the truth. Even if it isn't pretty, sure. If your partner is as honest as you, there should be no uncertainties. And the key word here is if your partner is as honest as you. Because let me tell you something, most of the times, your partner is not going to be as honest as you. They are going to be more honest or less honest, but not as honest as you. So there will always be a mismatch in any relationship. It's going to be, again, I'm going by the numbers. 99% of the relationships, there is going to be a mismatch on the level of honesty and integrity on the partners. And that's very difficult to admit, because when we head in partnerships, could be business, could be relationship, romantic, whatever, we assume something that fundamentally cannot be true. We assume that this person is as honest as me. First of all, you don't know how honest you are, because most people don't really pay attention to themselves. They just have this image about themselves, but they don't really check in reality. Wait, was I honest here? Like, most people don't check. They just live with that fantasy, with that illusion of themselves. So on one side, they don't know how honest they are, and now they are expecting that this person is going to be as honest as them. But what in reality they're expecting is that this person is going to be as honest as my image of me. Not like how honest I am, but what I think about me, that I am this honest person, which is very different. So you can see why relationships are so complex and difficult, and like it's a lot of, it takes a lot of our life and energy and attention, because it's so complex. It's so complex. Anyway, this is what I have for you today. At the end, I want to show you the picture from the next week, which is time. Next week, we are going to discuss about best advice based on 2,800 people interviewed. I'm losing my voice, which is called Timing and Future. And you have this beautiful clock. And that's what I'm going to go into next week.